Hey y'all, Meredith here with Peak Performance, and today we are talking a little bit about a nerve mobilization that is especially useful for cyclists and for anyone who works at a desk, which is most of the population nowadays. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a nerve glide for your ulnar nerve. So this is the nerve that innervates your ring finger and your pinky finger on each hand. What typically happens, so when you're sitting at a desk, we tend to drop our elbows on the desk, so we'll get some extra pressure on the inside of our elbows here. Or if we don't have pressure on the elbow, we'll have it on these flexors here. So both of these spots are areas where that ulnar nerve runs through. It runs through that little groove in here. So if you think about hitting your funny bone, it's usually your ulnar nerve that you've irritated. So what happens is we'll have that compression on that nerve for prolonged periods of time. And so that'll cause some numbness and tingling down into our hand and our fingers. Typically that's where we feel it first. And eventually it can actually cause some true nerve damage to the point to where you lose that muscle activation and can't extend those fingers out. So cyclists also have issues with this because, especially if they're riding a lot of hills and having to change gears a lot, where their hands are resting on their hoods. So typically they'll kind of rest their edge of their hand on their hood, and if they don't have a ton of cushion, or if they're just hanging out in that position for a long time, so that ulnar nerve actually kind of cuts in through here as well, and so you'll get some extra pressure on that pad here, and so over time you can have the same kind of symptoms. So what we're going to talk about today is what's called a nerve glide. So we're basically taking that nerve, and if you can imagine the nerve running all the way from your neck down through your arm and then all the way down into your hand and your fingers, it runs through a bunch of what you could call just little grommets in the tissue. So we're basically taking the nerve and we're gliding it in and out through those grommets and allowing it to have that movement. Nerves really don't like being compressed. They want space, they want to be able to move. So what we're doing is we're just going to slide it in and out through those grommets, and the key is that you can go to the start of those numbness or tingling symptoms, but we never want to continue into those symptoms. Nerves are really, really finicky and they take a long time to calm down and a lot of consistency. So we really want to be careful because you can make things worse if you do this too much. So for this, if you can ever imagine when you were a kid making the little funny face with your hands up like this, that's basically the direction we're going to go into. So you're going to make a key pinch grip on one hand, and you're going to start with a nice upright posture, neck in a nice neutral position, and you want to think about squeezing your shoulder blade down and back. Okay? So we're going to bend up like this, that key pinch grip, other fingers up, and then you're just going to gently, while keeping that shoulder blade down and back, lift your arm up until you start to feel a little bit of a pull. It feels different for everybody. Some people may immediately feel numbness and tingling, or just a strange sensation. I feel just a little bit of just a weird sensation on the outside of my hand here. And if you lose it, it probably means that you let that shoulder blade up. So you really want to think about squeezing that shoulder blade down, lift that arm out to the side until you start to feel a little bit of that weird feeling. And then from there, you're going to back off just a little, just to right before those symptoms start. And then you can either lift your arm up to that point and back down, or you can stay below that point and gently tilt your head away and back. So the same rules apply. You don't want to go further into those symptoms, and I would only do about 10 or 15 at a time. That way we don't irritate that nerve. We're not trying to stretch the nerve, we're trying to take it and just move it along the path that it runs, really gently, putting just slightly, a little bit of tension on it. Okay? Try this out and tell me what you think. If you do it consistently for a few days and you make sure and you follow those rules, a lot of times it can really calm things down in your hand and your wrist. So if you're having any kind of neck issues or pain when cycling, or any kind of problems that are preventing you from doing the things that you love, then give us a call at Peak Performance. We would love to help you get back to the things you love to do.